If you are still in that, try, test, or yet to decide, or we don't know which is good, which is bad, we don't know kind of which is suitable to us, which is scoring, which will take us to places like interview or something like that. That is one type of mindset you may be carrying today. Another, that you're clear and you have chosen and you know the path. You just want to shortlist into which institution you want to be part of, or which mentor is right for you, so that for the next few months you can take up this journey and continue your preparation. So there are two types of mindsets with which people come here and sit. What's yours? The first or the second? What is your mindset? Whether you are yet to decide your optional, or you have chosen anthropology as your optional subject. You have chosen, excellent. Yours, sir? Yet to. So you are still trying out multiple optionals. You are trying to get familiarized with multiple optionals. Yes. Yourself, sir? Yes, please. Okay. So did you choose your optional? Not yet. Yes. Not yet. So majority, that's 75%, they are yet to choose optional. So in that case, so we need to have some answers to few questions which may be bugging you most of the times. In general, please remember that you have multiplicity of sources to answer your queries, but you chose to be here to listen it from a different person's mindset. You understand this? You open internet, you open YouTube, you have multiple sources. You understand this? And you go and talk to any senior, you will have multiple perspectives. So what is more important is what you take from this session. Please understand this. So we'll try to divide this session into few minutes of how should you, on what basis should you finalize your optional. And the second half would be about what if you choose this, what kind of benefits or how can this optional help you to reach places. So that's how we'll divide this time we have into two parts. The first part is what? The myth and reality duo. So please remember, as usual, we all say that, so what are the factors which you have to consider before you choose an optional? Please remember, optionals weightage is immense. We all know that. We have 500 marks and it can make or break the deal. It can take you to the interview process, or it can send you back to home to start right from scratch again. The most important component of your mains preparation is your main, that is optional subject. Please understand this. Now I'm not even considering the prelims as an exam at all. Please understand this, because the preliminary examination is just a kind of joke. How dare you call prelims as joke? That would be your next question. Do you understand that? Yes, I have been there, I have cleared that, I have reached interview stage. Don't worry, I know what I'm talking about. So it's your turn. Why we are calling preliminary exam as a joke? Please remember, so question is given, answer is also given. Yes or no? Yes, please. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm that much matured enough to accept corrections. You understand this? The question is given because I have written prelims 13 years ago, 12 years ago. I don't know what kind of changes they have incorporated in your prelims. I don't know. Same format, is it? Same negative? Negative markings were wrong? Yes, excellent. Same thing. That did not change much. Question is given, answer is also given. You call that as an exam. On top of it, you have more answers given. 4 answers. You wanted 1, they gave you more. So this is a simple indication that you're spoiled by choices. The more choices you have, more confusion it would create, and you are more likely to take a wrong decision. Be cautious. Keep your choices, options very limited. That's a lesson you learn. Moreover, I have learned a lesson in my clinicals. I'm a medical doctor, by the way. Yes. And our orthopedics professor used to say, your eyes cannot see what your brain doesn't know, though it is in front of you. Do you understand that? Example, your preliminary exam. Answer is in front of your eyes. Still your eyes cannot see it. What's the problem? Problem with your eyes? Sorry. Mindset. The way you think and the way you understand, the way you learn. We call this as cognitive ability. Identification of something by the brain first. If you are able to identify something with the sense organs, that becomes a skill, not intellect. You will understand this. So that's how we understand this, that it's not about the training to the eyes, but training to the brain which is required. So that is where preparation holds some significance here. Do you understand this? Yes. So preliminary is joke. Question is given, answer is given. You don't have to worry much about it. Then what is the exam? Mains is the only exam you have to crack actually. The real exam is mains. Why? Because only question is given, answer is not given. Surprise. Make your own answer. You will understand this? So that's how it is. Please remember, it is objective, it is subjective. What is objective? What is subjective? Objective means same for all. Subjective means individualistic. Simple it is. You will understand this? Do you think all of you have same perspective towards the world around you? No, that's it. That means world depends on what you think it is, not what it is. Are you able to understand this? Rock is rock, but rock is God to some, not to all. What is this concept of God? Individual perspective, subjective. Probably. You understand this? And this is what is a synonym we use in our subject called as culture. We will learn about it more. Do you understand this? So you have to synthesize your own answer. There is nothing called as a kind of ideal answer. There is nothing called as a perfect answer. Perfection is an illusion and it never exists in reality. Will you understand this? There is nothing. Don't try for that perfection. I want to write a perfect answer, ideal answer, the excellent answer. We don't have such things. Because absoluteness doesn't have any relevance in the world. It's only relative nature. That means comparison. Whether your answer is better than the rest of the people's answer or not. Whether your answer is appropriate fit to explain the key word in the question or not. Whether your answer is relevant to the recent or contemporary developments or not. Whether your answer can have any solution to the problem mentioned in the question or not. Whether your answer is comprehensive, holistic in your perspective or not. So we have to think a lot of things before you're giving your subjective answer here. Getting back here, we have few questions before choosing an optional. And let me give you a few basic universal philosophies. There is nothing called as a bad optional. Are you able to understand this? There is nothing called as a bad optional. There is nothing called as ideal optional. You understand this? Optional is as good as you are or what you make out of it. Because people are getting into services, reaching interview stage, choosing multiple optionals. If there were bad optionals, people choosing those optionals wouldn't be reaching interview stage. Yes or no? There ends the discussion. That there is nothing called as bad optional. Likewise, there is nothing called as perfect or ideal or the best optional. We don't have that thing. That is an illusion. Please understand this. So optional would become good for you depending on what you make out of it. You have to understand this. How you use that optional. Okay, we have one more key, that not all optionals are equally scoring in nature. Scoring 200 marks out of 500 may be good or decent concerned with some optionals. Scoring 250 may be very good marks concerned with some optionals. Scoring 300 may be maximum by choosing some optionals, and some optionals will give you the leverage of scoring above, in excess of 300, up to 350, 360 also. So what you want out of optional is marks, so that your overall score in the mains would be more and you will reach interview stage, and that's it. There ends the discussion. You are choosing an optional just for the sake of marks. That means you have to choose optional based on the potential, scoring potential which an optional provides you. That's it. Do not develop an emotional dependency on the optional. Don't worry, you don't have to marry this optional. Only for the next 1 to 2 years or till you get into service, you have to be with your optional. That's it. After that, break up. Easy. People are doing it frequently, yes or no? Use it, throw it. The same applies here. With due respect to your personal and individual choices, which is none of my business. Oh, you can understand this. Do not try to get too serious or emotional, or do not take optional too personally. Use that optional to reach interview stage, to get as many marks as possible. What do you mean as many marks as possible? That means you have to choose that optional which is scoring in nature. That is basic common sense. The goal is to get as many marks as possible and reach interview stage. That's it. Irrespective of your educational background, irrespective of what your friends or peers are saying or forcing, irrespective of what others have told you. So what are the factors we have to focus on a kind of choosing an optional? We have a lot of factors here, irrespective of education. So what if your educational background coincides with of some optional? Can you select that optional? Answer would be yes, because you have studied that all these years in your undergraduation or post-graduation, and you have some edge over it. You have some clarity over fundamental concepts concerned with that optional, and you can as well choose that optional. What if your educational background and your optional should not be connected, or what if you don't like what you have studied in your undergraduation, like most of the engineers? Sorry if you're an engineer. Oh, my family is filled with engineers. They really did not like what they studied in college. Maybe it's okay. There's nothing wrong in it. You get it? So, second is what? Okay. Fine. You switch. You change. Your interests change over a period of time. You understand this? You may like the diversity or multidisciplinary, multidimensional nature of a particular optional. You may like some optional's content, or you may like the way questions have been asked or framed, or you may like the scoring potential or leverage an optional gives you. Interest or scoring potential. Not all optionals have same scoring potential. Not all options are equally scoring. Please understand this. Some optionals limit you to score only 250 to 300. Now, how can we say that which option is scoring in nature, which option is not? Have a look at previous statistics given by the UPSC. The outcomes of this mains marks. You can as well observe the marks scored by some candidates with some specific optionals. You can say that barring literature, language literatures, among all other optionals which are not language literatures, 10% is the highest number of candidates clearing concerned with one particular optional in the recent 5 years. What is that optional? Anthropology. The first optional, which is non-literature optional, with highest amount of scoring capacity in excess of 362 marks. In no other optional candidates have scored these many marks. What is the moral of the story? This optional gives you that leverage to score more. Oh, you will understand this. Now, that is what we have to take from this discussion. The takeaway, key takeaway. This optional is scoring relative to other optionals. Okay. Depends on multiple factors again. 10% is the chance, or you can say that a statistical record which says that the selection percentage. So out of 100 people choosing this optional, 10% got recommended to the interview and service. And concerned with other optionals, it is less than 10%. Okay, so it depends on multiple factors, scaling, and then normalization. A lot of stuff would come into picture. Yes, if more and more people choose this optional, then percentage would definitely change. But that depends on multiple factors here. Yes. So getting back again, yes, as we have few elements here. So few key questions you have to tick whether the optional in your mind would fulfill these categories or criteria or not. So you can choose any optional of your choice, yeah, whether syllabus is less or more. So if syllabus is lesser, you can complete that in shorter duration of time and revise it multiple number of times, and you can become better at it. Simple logic it is. If syllabus is vast, then you will be having a time constraint and you may require more number of time. Time is very precious commodity. You cannot afford to lose more time. That's over. Simple logic here. Yes. So what is less or more? Anthropology has got approximately 54 units or chapters or discussions in general. So even if you dedicate 2 to 3 days of time for each chapter, you may complete the syllabus in a 100 session, or maybe revision can occur in the next 100 days or less than 3 months or approximately 3 months. You can revise it. So that is moderate amount of syllabus, neither too less nor more. Do you understand this? There is a balance of the amount or quantity of syllabus we have in optional anthropology. You can compare this with the other options which you have in your mind. Yes. So next, easy to study or difficult. Please understand that 80% of the syllabus is static. Please remember what is static here, which need not be updated in accordance with contemporary developments. In general, we call this as what? The percentage of objectivity versus percentage of subjectivity. Subjectivity is more means what? Dynamic nature of the subject is more. That means it keeps changing. Though question remains same, answer need to be changed every year. That kind of subject would be challenging and scoring potential in those subjects would be lesser. Whereas less subjectivity means more static nature. If any subject syllabus is having more static nature, that subject would be more scoring in its nature or potential. For example, anthropology has got 80% static syllabus and only 20% is approximately 20% is dynamic or subjective in nature. That means 80% of the answers to the questions would remain same across years. So you don't have to worry about updating yourself. Though your contemporary developments knowledge is lesser, you can still score better. This percentage varies from one option to another. Please understand this. And that is why the scoring potential from one option to another varies. Remember that syllabus. So how many of you are carrying the syllabus copy of anthropology here? I am assuming and presuming that you are here by having the information that this is an anthropology optional class. You are not carrying syllabus copy? That is the most important document you have to carry throughout your preparation time. And if at all there is any second document you have to carry, that would be previous year question papers or simply previous year questions concerned with that optional. Always you must carry these two, which act as guiding lights. Where to go, how to approach, what to read, what not to, all these things can be clarified to you by only these two types of documents. Irrespective of your optional, carry the syllabus copy of the optional and previous questions concerned with that optional. Always carry them with you throughout your preparation so that you will remain on track. Yes. Next is what? Easy to study or difficult. It depends on percentage of subjectivity. So if static nature of the syllabus is greater, scoring potential of that option would be greater. Anthropology has got 80% of the syllabus static. Next, most of the people would worry that anthropology is all about biology. Please remember, less than 20%, approximately 18% of the syllabus is biological anthropology or physical anthropology, wherein most of the concepts you have studied in your school, that is cell cytology, cell division, DNA structure and function, protein synthesis. You have studied this in school. And in anthropology we have something called as applied biotechnology, that is in the form of genetics. Biotechnology you study in science and technology for GS3, you study biotechnology, and very similar structural and functional elements are there concerned with the genetics component. That's it. That's what you have to focus on in biological anthropology. When compared with the non-biology parts, the biological component is very lesser. It's approximately 18%. So you should be able to master that 18%, and there is a scope of drawing diagrams also in biological anthropology which will give you an edge over other components. Yes, so getting back here, self-study or need mentoring, please understand this. It's a very big question. Many people ask that you read in newspapers once in a while that one candidate cracked this and entered service with self-preparation completely. Not all such stories are true. You don't have to go by whatever is written in the newspaper. Often, many candidates in YouTube interviews, they also say that they never took coaching. That's also not 100% right. Each and every candidate, most of the candidates, they might have received mentorship at least once in their preparation time. If they don't want to reveal it, that is their personal choice. But majority of people, they say that whoever say that they did not take coaching or mentoring, they are lying. You understand this? I've seen many candidates so have been preparing and have been cracking this and entering services, and I know that they have taken mentorship program somewhere, and in front of the media they say that they never took any kind of mentorship. So don't go by these words. It's okay. You don't have to worry about them whether they took coaching or not. Please remember, even Alexander the Great had a mentor called as Aristotle. Please understand this. You get it? There is nothing wrong in it. Even if you crack without any mentor or coaching, it doesn't take you to greater places than those candidates with mentorship and coaching who have cracked this service. Do you think there is any difference between candidates who crack this service with coaching and mentorship or candidates who did not take coaching and mentorship? Do you think there is a difference? More chances are there if you take guidance from mentor, because this is called as smart work. What is smart work and how different it is from that of hard work here? Hard work is what? You make mistakes and learn from them, which might consume some time. Smart work is you learn from others' mistakes, which saves time. Whose mistakes from which you are learning here? Mentors. Are you able to understand this? The most important thing you need to know is what not to do, rather what to do. What mistakes you should avoid it. Because you have many arenas or platforms to tell you what to do. But why should you be here? To know what not to do. What mistakes to avoid. Because we know that prevention is better than cure. Because mistakes in the examination hall are pretty expensive. They'll consume a lot of your time. They're painful. You will understand this. Be cautious. Yes. So, self-study or need mentoring. Please remember, with due respect to your individual choices, a mentor can add value to your preparation and may reduce your total duration of preparation and may help you to score better. That's always good. With due respect to your individual choices. We'll move on further. Quick completion or time consuming. Please remember, most of the people ask that how much time you need to complete this syllabus here. 16 weeks is what we keep to ourselves as the deadline to complete the syllabus discussion in the class, which will boil down to approximately 4 to 4.5 months calendar. Or if you want me to simplify this, 100 sessions of approximately 2.5 hours each. That is per session. If we assume it is 2.5 hours, we need 100 sessions to complete this syllabus. When you put that on calendar, you will have a lot of interferences in between. That is weekends or holidays or this issue, that issue, rain or some issue. Festivals, because many constraints, logistics and technical issues would come into picture for you to reach. For that matter, to cover it, we have online facility also, don't worry about it. So for example, your health status, you understand this? So a lot of issues would come into picture. Considering all those elements here, we keep this as the overall time frame within which we can complete the syllabus discussion in the class. So 16 weeks. 16 weeks or 4 months? Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah, approximately we can say that on calendar, then you'll have a lot of holidays included. Then it will go to 4 to 5 months approximately. Keep that in mind. Yes. So please remember, keep that in mind and start your preparation. That would be informed decision or relatively realistic approach. You cannot join here now saying that you are writing mains in this September. That would be very tight schedule, isn't it? Get it? So give yourself time. Please remember, if your preparation is thorough, you just need one attempt to crack and enter service. That's it. If your preparation is absolutely to the point and in general comprehensive, you just need one attempt. Don't worry about it. So use your resources to the maximum possible extent to prepare better. Sharpen your tools. Invest more time in sharpening your tools before you take the exam. If you want to get the feel of the exam, give mock tests. You understand this? Give mock tests and improvise yourself. Commit less number of mistakes and try to commit new mistake every time you write. For every mistake teaches you something new. Yes? So use mock tests or test series to sharpen your skills and not the real exam. It's not about exhausting your attempts. It's about respecting your dignity and efforts. Failure hurts you. If you fail in mock test, it's okay. But real exam, it hurts you. And that will consume time. You'll be emotionally drained. Don't try those dangerous elements here. Get it? Give the exam when you're thoroughly ready, prepared. You'll understand this. But many people do this mistake that, what is there? Anyways, I'm not serious. Let me give prelims. And anyways, I'll try my luck. And it's kind of lottery. If you are interested in such gambling things, buy lottery. Why civil service exam preparation? Don't try all those things with this UPSC exam. You understand this? So not that you lose one attempt and you have many attempts to write and at your disposal. You can write and let go of one attempt. No. Don't try all those things, because a failure hurts you subconsciously, though you don't know about it. Get it? So do not degrade yourself. Respect your preparation. You get it? So that is what we are saying here. So quick completion or time consuming depends on what is time to you. So in our discussions we say time is an illusion. You understand this? Time is a perception. Time is subjective. Time is different for different people. You understand this? So what time is differs who you are, not what it is. For some people it is a good time. For some people, bad time. There are many people who are dying now. For them it is a bad time. For you, it's a good time. Somebody is becoming rich now. For them, it is the best time. Somebody is at war, bleeding. What kind of time? Worst time. This time is not same for all. You understand this? It's an illusion. It's a perception. It is subjective in nature.
Time is illusion.
Of course, yes. It's not real. It doesn't exist. In reality, in tangible reality, time doesn't exist. You created it for your convenience. Of course, yes, you can add it. That's what I'm saying. Universe is made of two things primarily you studied in school. What is that? Matter, energy. A third dimension you can add is what? Time. Dimension is what? Your school of thought. It doesn't exist except in your thoughts. Thought means what? Subjective. For you it exists, not for somebody else. That means you are looking at something through your own school of thought. That is an illusion. You have to understand this. That is called as an illusion. It is subjective in nature. For someone this is a snake. For somebody else it is a electrical wire. Whatever it is. You have to understand this. So similarly, we will talk more of such things eventually, though. Yes, quick completion or time consuming. As we said here, it depends who you are, what this time is to you, whether it is short or long duration. So I would assume that it is appropriate, because you have to master one most important component of your mains examination and you have to invest some good amount of time in it. Well, it depends on who you are, please understand this, and how much time you have at your disposal. Yes, Getting back here, static or dynamic, as we mentioned earlier, that 3/4 of this content is relatively static, which doesn't change from year to year. Though question remains same, if answer also can remain same, that indicates the less amount of subjectivity in it and more amount of static nature. So what is advantage or disadvantage of subjectivity or static nature here? That your syllabus in general can be completed in shorter duration, revision also can be completed in shorter duration, and then the scoring potential of that subject increases. You have to understand this. So that is why we talk about this here. Yes. So interesting or boring? Please remember, anthropology is all about yourself. It's a kind of introspection. You have to understand this. Of course, with a little focus on what? Past, that is your ancestors, and then yourself and people around you. If you have had a look at the syllabus, you will have some general understanding about what is this anthropology all about. Anthropology is all about primarily you. So we try to connect the past, that is your ancestors, with the present people, with multiple dimensions. If studying about you is interesting to you, well, this subject is definitely going to be interesting. Then what are the other factors to consider whether an optional is interesting or not? Please remember, we add little bit of neurophysiology here. You have a neurotransmitter in your brain called as dopamine, which is responsible for your focus, attention, like energy and exuberance, interest, or you can say that memory. It also is responsible for stimulating memory here or converting short term to long term. So we have a lot of functions of dopamine. So you will be excited, energetic, enthusiastic when there is dopamine release. If there is no dopamine, you will be less interested, lethargic, fatigued, and sleepy, dozing off, and no focus, no memory, nothing. You will understand this. So if subject is having multiple perspectives, multiple dimensions, and diverse components of your life, this diversity itself will make your brain neurons release more dopamine, which will keep you hooked to the subject. You see these OTT kind of episodes, you see some are very interesting. Some YouTube shorts or some Insta reels, they'll be interesting. You'll be scrolling continuously. Why? Because diverse, changing colors, changing people, changing places, changing sounds, changing scenes will generate dopamine in your brain. You'll be hooked to your phone. Internet addiction, Why? Because there is diversity in it. You have to understand this. This generates more dopamine in the brain. Similarly, if a subject is having multiple dimensions, diverse topics about human beings, about you, this will keep your brain generating more dopamine. That means this subject would become interesting to you when compared with other subjects where there is less amount of diversity. You have to understand this. So this is what makes this subject relatively interesting to people who have no connection academically with anthropology. Engineering people who deal with non-living things also will be interested in anthropology. How is that possible? You have to understand this. Because of the inherent diversity of this subject. Relative to other subjects, there is more amount of diversity to this subject, which will generate interest and which will keep you hooked to the subject. Now, that is what you have to look for. Whether, please remember, it is not a one day or a kind of 1 week's preparation you have to do. You have to remain with this option for the next 1 or 2 years. We never know. You have to understand this. And to remain consistent, the subject should not become monotonous to you. Monotonous nature of the subject, or for that matter any subject, makes the subject boring, because monotony will not generate dopamine. So be very cautious before you enter or before choosing an optional. Look whether the subject is having diverse perspectives about something or not. You understand this? So success rate is lower or higher. As we have mentioned earlier, in the last 5 to 6 years, the highest scoring subject has been anthropology, without any doubt. It is undebatable. when compared with any other subject, many people by choosing this optional are scoring better and are getting into interview list better. So more and more people. So that is how it is. Definitely yes. Useful for general studies or not. Please remember that. So in general essay, we had questions like 2020 and 2021 year general essay questions. We had questions like what? You must have seen them, previous year questions. That is what I always say, that general essay 125 marks. You get it? That culture is what we are, civilization is what we have. General essay question. Purely question on anthropology. Culture is what we are, civilization is what we have. What we have is physical, tangible. What we are is what? Intangible, not physical. Look at this. And 2021 also we had a question. What is that here? Life is a journey between human being and being humane. General essay questions we're talking about. Civil service mains. Life is a journey between human being. Human being means biological human being. That means animal. We are animals first. You understand this? To being humane. That means you learn something and you become somebody else. This is called as life. This is purely anthropology question asked for general essay, 125 marks. Okay, so we have the components, prehistory, we study prehistory and archaeology in our syllabus, anthropology here, which have direct reflections in history component of it. Yes, and then social issues. We study a lot of society, culture, social institutions, social groups, social problems, issues, and then the provisions, constitutional mechanisms for protection of some groups in society. We study about global, general, and then Indian perspective also in anthropology. So GS2, society, social justice, have direct implications concerned with their anthropology. And then biological anthropology has got direct reflections in GS3, science and technology. We have environmental or ecological anthropology, environment, GS3, direct reflections here. And lot of discussions we will do in the class concerned with anthropology. We will have direct implications on GS4, that is ethics, ethical dilemma. We talk about values, we talk about attitudes, we talk about virtues, we talk about aptitude. So we talk about so many things in anthropology that will have reflections in GS4, that is ethics component of it. And with all these discussions, you will have a better understanding about human beings, why people are the way they are, and any deviation from what is normal, which will cause conflicts, and why there is a conflict, there are conflicts across the globe, and how should we look at it and how should we resolve it. So this will help you perform better in the interview process also. So for GS all papers, anthropology would help you, and even anthropology would help you to perform better in your interview process also. Now what else you want? Don't be greedy. Try to satisfy only your approach towards civil service exam should be need based, not greed based. Sorry, civil services will not satisfy your wants. It may satisfy your needs, because wants are unlimited, needs are limited. In anthropology we talk about two needs. Number one is what? Biological needs. Number two is social needs. You will understand this. So what is biological need? Hunger, thirst, sexual desires, biological, universal to all animals, including humans. Social, recognition, identity, respect, dignity, privilege, a lot of other things. You understand? Relationships. Yes. So biological needs, social needs can be satisfied by civil services, but not your greed. So your approach towards civil service exam preparation, or even to perform services, should be need based, or to fulfill your needs, not to fulfill your greed or want. You understand this? Yes. Getting back here. So useful for general studies or not? Yes. Approximately, we'll put it to a lesser word here, 30% of overlap you can see between anthropology syllabus and general studies syllabus. 30% is lesser, but not to be we are not boasting about, we are not bragging about this optional here. Yes, try to look before you choose an optional, how much of overlap is there between optional syllabus and GS syllabus. That will help you to some extent. Yes. Next is what? Scoring or not. Please remember, not all optionals are equally scoring in nature. When you look at the marks scored by the candidates in the previous exams, you would understand that anthropology has got the highest scoring potential among all non-language literature optionals. Among all. Please understand this. So in that sense, we can have anthropology as one of the highest scoring, because you have a scope of adding case studies and examples, diagrams, or provide some kind of realistic perspective about humans here. So there is a scope of writing more relevant information and thus scoring more. So that is why we say that anthropology has got more scoring potential here. If you want to convert all this information into some numbers, and what would that be? How would that look like? So we have 80% approximately is static in nature. That means you don't have to worry about updating yourself and write new or updated answer for every question, because there is certain amount of repetitivity. So degree of repetitivity is greater here, because repeated questions would appear in this, because syllabus is static and they have to ask questions from the same terms which are present in the syllabus. So in many questions you would see same terms picked up directly from the syllabus in the exam. That is why I say keep syllabus copy first in your hand and then previous year questions in the other hand. You can compare. You can try this after the class also. Yes, dynamic nature approximately 20%. For example, social issues, tribal issues. You understand this? So we have any recent developments in archaeology. Archaeological excavations keep revealing new findings by archaeologists related to human past. So in that case, for example, in 2022, we had one Nobel given to a scholar who discovered who contributed to a discipline called as paleogenomics. Yes? So Svante Pabo is the name of the scholar. Svante Pabo, you must have heard about this, at least under current affairs. Svante 2022 Nobel, that is the most recent Nobel awards you have to study for both prelims and mains. Svante Pabo was a Nobel laureate who received Nobel under physiology and medicine for discovering what? The DNA link between present humans and one extinct human ancestor called as Denisovans. So this led to the discovery of a brand new name called as paleogenomics. For this, Svante Pabo received Nobel. And that becomes what? Relatively dynamic in nature. Please understand this. That means you have to write about this. Okay. Machines are slow. Yes. Svante Pabo. That is dynamic in nature. You understand this? Or certain kind of tribal communities, maybe in the recent past, might have been included under scheduled tribes. You understand this? So these become, in general, certain kind of contemporary developments which may be useful for improvising an answer. So dynamic nature is approximately 20%. Please understand this. Yes. Next is what? Overlap with general studies. As we mentioned earlier, we had the general essay questions related to anthropology, and prehistory or ancient history questions related to anthropology, and social issues GS2 related to anthropology, and then science and technology, biological anthropology, they have some overlap here. Ethics case studies have some overlap here. So approximately 30% of overlap you can see with that of the optional anthropology and general studies here. Next is what? Repetition of questions. Very important thing. You can ask anyone who has given an exam with this optional, who has written the mains with optional anthropology, that how many of previous questions you found in the question paper. They would say many, either directly or indirectly. Please understand this. So you have to have that focus, an analytical understanding of previous questions and how they get repeated. So that is why I always say carry syllabus copy and previous year questions in your hand so that you can correlate. So these are some examples or the numbers to inform you about what is the advantage of this optional here. Next is what? How can we help you? That is what most people would ask questions, that how can you make a difference in our preparation? Can you do something? Yes, we will be doing something which all other people will be doing, and we'll be doing something little extra value addition, where many of the others may not be doing this on regular basis. Yes, so please remember, all these things would add value to your preparation, and this by itself is not your preparation. Reality bites. You understand this? To what extent an institution or a mentor can add value to your preparation is approximately 30 to 40% only. Majority 60 to 70% you have to do your preparation. This applies to all people across the country, across all institutions. Please understand this. Yes, an institution or a mentor cannot live your life. Who should live your life? Who should live your life? Thank you so much. You saved my day. Who should prepare for your exam? Who would play the most significant role in your life? I'm sorry if you are thinking about Feb 14th. You understand this? That somebody else is playing an important role in my life. Sorry. You understand this? So many people have this perception that others will change my life. Sorry. With due respect to your individual choices, do not let others to change your life. Yes, please. Yes, definitely yes. So you are the driver of your life's vehicle. So make sure that you determine and make sure that your life is a product of your choice. You will understand this. Getting back here, how can we add value to your preparation? Yes, we have few things here. Yes, number one is what? Yes, so we'll be focusing on a three-pronged approach as usual. What is a three-pronged approach here? Number one is what? Concept building. We'll focus on fundamental concepts regarding this anthropology optional, which we cannot go wrong. We have to be very clear about them. How can we be so clear about concepts? Yeah, we'll be focusing on what? The basics and the vocabulary. What is vocabulary here? Subject specific jargon. So we'll be, please remember, you have to write anthropological terms in the exam. If you write plain English terms, that will not be useful to you. Please understand this. So you have to use certain terms which are specific to this discipline. Only then you can impress the examiner and you can convey the information better. Please remember, the goal is to what? To convey more information by writing less. You cannot write more because writing more will consume a lot of time. Many people would assume that writing practice in mock tests is learn speed writing. No, it is not. The mock test, the writing practice, we suggest people to start from day one of your preparation is not to increase your speed of writing, but ensure that you choose words cautiously which will convey more information. Write less, convey more. Please understand this. That is a trick you have to learn during your practice, writing practice. So use specific terminology, subject specific jargon. Each and every discipline, let it be sciences or literature or humanities, they will have their own subject specific terminology or jargon. So use them here. And fundamental concepts. Second is what? The application. How do we apply this? How do we apply our conceptual knowledge to the day-to-day life of people? For example, you have a left-wing extremism issue. How do you look at it? So whether it is a law and order problem, or political, ideological, or poverty, unemployment, backwardness, what is this? Is it the impact of the Western schools of thought? Yes. So whether it is a problem which should be dealt by police or the paramilitary. So how should we look at it? Anti-social, anti-national, is it? So how should we look at it? Whether it is social, socio-cultural, what is it? It is multi-dimensional problem. Yeah, multi-dimensional problem. So whenever you try to, or Government of India tries to negotiate, if at all, with such people, who would be the most appropriate people to talk with them? Anthropologists. Are you able to understand this? Making this, the internal, that is left-wing extremism, more of socio-cultural problem rather than anything else. Are you able to understand this? So that is how your perspective changes, and this is because of the application of the knowledge of anthropology. Okay, so you must have heard about this, that in northeastern part of India there is ethnic clashes. You know, some people from neighboring countries, they are entering India, well, illegal, that is different, and they are threatening the local natives, resulting in ethnic clashes. Not just Rohingyas, or whatever it is. Yes. So what is this ethnic clash? How should we look at it? Is it a refugee crisis? Is it the failure of military at the border? Is it a kind of strategy of the neighbors to destabilize the social structure of India? Is it a law and order problem? So what kind of problem it is? It is a socio-cultural problem. Please understand this. Do you understand this? Okay, so we have a problem in India, especially in northern parts of India, of course in southern parts of India also. What is that here? This is something called as honor killings. You must have heard about this. Khap Panchayat, honor killing, intercaste marriage. You understand this? Some people oppose in the society. How should you look at it? What is caste? What kind of problem it is? Is caste a source of a problem? Should it be? So, you need to apply the concept of anthropology to understand and probably resolve such conflicts. You will understand this? Okay, so in the recent past, for example, May, till May 12th, 13th, I was there in Delhi at this point in time, last month, like till 14th, 15th, 16th, I was there. At that time, it happened that a few of my friends were interested in one thing, that is what was happening in the Supreme Court of India. So, Honorable Supreme Court of India constituted a 5-judge bench, including the CJI DY Chandrachud, constitutional bench. So, what was the issue? Legalizing same-sex marriage. You will understand this. 2018, Navtej Johar judgment came in 2018, which decriminalized same-sex marriage. Decriminalization is different. With the support of that judgment, now petitioners have filed a case. 18 couples, same-sex couples, have filed a petition in Supreme Court of India, pleading that the same-sex marriage should be considered as normal marriage and should be legally valid. Yeah, valid. It should be considered as legally valid and should be considered as marriage like other types of marriages. And it was indirectly requesting the Honorable Supreme Court of India to give an order to amend the Special Marriage Act. You will understand this. And Government of India is opposing this. We know that, as usual. There is always a clash between the policy makers and the judiciary. You understand this? So, this is what is happening. And surprisingly, the CJI, Honorable Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, mentioned a comment on 9th of May, I guess, saying that if there is a question of fundamental rights of choosing a life partner and its contribution to eventual stability of the marriage, same-sex marriage qualifies under fundamental rights. If stability post-marriage is concerned, many heterosexual marriages are also breaking apart. Divorce cases, you know that, yes. Recently, in the month of April also, Honorable Supreme Court of India gave a sensational judgment saying that you don't need to wait for some time to get separated legally. Previously, it was mandate, 6 months, 1 year, there was a mandate. Now, today marriage, tomorrow divorce possible. You understand this? In the wake of that, stability post-marriage was discussed on 9th of May last month, and Honorable CJI issued one statement saying that if stability of the marriage is concerned, even heterosexual marriages cannot be supported because they are also applying for separation, legal separation. In that case, there is no reason to question the stability of same-sex couples marriage. That means the Honorable Supreme Court of India had a propensity, that is bent of mind, in favor of same-sex marriage. In favor of. Okay, so what? That would be your next question. So what? Marriage. What is marriage? Social and cultural institution. Very much integral part of anthropology syllabus. It's a human-to-human relationship. What is the purpose of marriage? Procreation. Positive, constructive.
Perpetuation of race.
Positive and constructive social relationship. Procreation. That's how it has been.
Okay, religion also part of the anthropological studies.
Of course, definitely yes. It's part of our syllabus, it's part of our studies, it's part of human-to-human interactions, it's part of society, culture, and religion.
Religion has both are concerned, social, cultural.
Of course, definitely yes, definitely yes, definitely yes. So, how do we look at it? We have multiple dimensions to look at it, and that probably would be this year's question for sure. Why? Because fundamental concept, we study marriage in our syllabus as fundamental concept. Application, how do we understand the ongoing issue on legalizing same-sex marriages, and any kind of integration with contemporary developments. So we combine these two and our approach becomes a three-pronged approach. Did you get that point? How we deal with the subject here in the class? Fundamental concept will be focused. What is marriage? Characteristic features, nature of marriage, history of marriage here, and then the purpose of marriage here, functions of marriage here, types of marriage. We have monogamy, polygamy, and then we have this sham marriages, ghost marriages, yes, pederasty, and then we have group marriages. So we have multiple types of marriages, yes. So we study concept. Next is what? Application. What is relevance of marriage in our society? Don't you think you are a product of marriage and family? Yes, you are. You are the best example of application of marriage. Yes or no? Because your parents got married. You are the consequence of marriage.
As the provider of the family.
Of course, yes. Your parents are also products of marriage of their parents, and it is a perpetual cycle. You would also get married. Don't tell me that. That's why we are here, kind of. Okay, because many people see entering civil services is a shortcut to get married. People will marry you without considering anything, just your service. Yes, I've seen quite a number of cases. It's a shortcut. Of course, I have a lot of my friends. You understand this? Dowry. You know, I'm sorry, but one of her student was there. In her friends group, she forwarded a message. She got married to a civil servant last year. You know what was the message she has sent? If you can't become one, at least marry one. You get the point? Sorry, nothing personal here. I'll give you two disclaimers. Remember them forever. Number one is what? Do not overthink. You don't have to. Do not. Do not. Second is what? Do not take anything which happens here too personally. It's okay. Easy. Yes? Do not. Yes. Do not take anything too personally. We have a statement in Hindi. Dil pe mat le yaar. Don't take it too personally. It's okay. You are here just for the sake of an exam. Exam is just one part of your life. It's not your entire life. Come on. Yes or no? Exam will not become the life, becomes life. But what happens after the exam, how you take it, may influence your life. You understand this? So, disclaimers. I give this before every class in most of the institutions. Yes? Disclaimers, remember them first, so that things will be easy and comfortable between us. Yes? So our approach is what? Three-pronged approach. You understand this? Concept, we'll focus on applications, if at all we can relate to, and example or case study is contemporary. So thus case study becomes realistic, hands-on, not just hypothetical, which is present in some books. Hypothetical examples, case studies are less attractive. Realistic case studies, hands-on, based on contemporary developments. Those would be the case studies we give. Not all concepts, not all chapters need case studies. Wherever it is required, we'll provide you with real-time case studies here. Next is what? We'll focus on concept building. We mentioned earlier. Yes. Next is what? Current affairs interlinking, contemporary developments, how to interlink them with the concepts and applications, and how to shape or formulate or polish your answers. Better presentation, that's it. Yes. Next is what? Of course, all reports, committees, recommendations, PPTs, PDFs, and all those diagrams, pictures, everything will be given to you on regular basis. The moment we complete a chapter, we will be given the PPTs, PDFs, and all those kind of handouts. Next is what? Of course, we are open to interactions. Let these sessions be not just monologues. It should be multi-logs or at least dialogues. You understand this? So let's interact and exchange of thoughts. Please remember, it is cooperative learning process. Learning happens everywhere, every day. Please understand this. Yes. So that's how it is. So we don't believe that the kind of hypocrisy that only one person should speak and others should listen. No, we don't believe in hypocritic elements. Yeah, but we believe that it is mutual. Learning is always mutual. Please understand. Right from childhood, you have been learning from your parents, and your parents also were learning about you. Don't you think your growing up was mutual? You did not just learn from your parents have learned many things from you also. Though they may not say it directly to you, go and ask them. Hey, did you learn anything from us while we were growing up, right from childhood? They say a lot, they would say. Then they would open up. Say, we learned a lot from you. Look at that. Learning is always at least bidirectional, at least, if not multi. You'll understand this? Yes. It is like same way this AI works, artificial intelligence. You understand this? You give some inputs and it also learns from those inputs. And it also gives you some outputs and you learn from that output. You understand this? It is interactive. Real-time case studies. What is real-time here? Based on contemporary developments, not hypothetical, which is present somewhere idealistically in a book or something. Yes. And then guidance to notes making. Please remember, the best source for your reference before the exam or for your quick reference is personal notes. And we would request you to make your personal notes right from day one. You may write something in the rough copy as a running notes in the class, and we would urge you to convert that rough into fair copy, and we'll give you inputs how to make your own personal notes. It should be concise, short, crisp, and separately dedicated for each concept. And that personal notes can be understood only by you, and that will be the best source for your reference and quick revision before the exam. Yes. So next is what? Answer writing. Every day at least one question. At least one question. 100 days, 100 questions. And every time we complete a chapter, we'll give you some questions from previous year question papers. And if at all necessary, some potential questions from that area which have never been asked. So all this would enrich your writing practice, and we would insist on you to write at least one answer to one question every day. At least one. At least based on the topics we have completed already. Please remember, writing is a skill. You become better at it only over a period of time by regular practice. You cannot learn skills overnight. It completely is a product of regular practice. So is writing. So please remember, there is something called as muscle memory. You must have heard about this. Muscle memory. Muscles also. Your brain muscle contact is very crucial. Otherwise, muscles will stop working during your exam. Fatigue, pain, and your handwriting completely loses its legibility, and then that's over for you. That's a disaster waiting to happen if you don't practice writing. It is like everyday activity. For example, you play cricket, Indians, you know that. Yes, cricket is a skill. The more you practice, better you become. So is medical science though. Any doctors here, please? No doctor? All engineers? Okay, depends. Yes. So soccer or bike riding, car driving. You understand this? Everything is a skill. The more you practice, better you become at. So is writing. Start from day one. You lose nothing, but you gain a lot. You understand this? Yes. So next is what? Comprehensive test series. We'll give you 14 different question papers, and 10 would be chapter wise or module wise here, and 4 would be comprehensive. Comprehensive means entire syllabus. In that 2 would be paper 1 comprehensive, paper 2 comprehensive, and 2 would be paper 1, paper 2 both comprehensive. 14, a full-fledged test series will be given along with the regular discussions or curriculum. Yes. Next is what? Personalized mentorship. If at all you have any problem that you have a challenging area, you understand this? Please remember, try to have one room big in your life. What is that room? Not bedroom. A room of improvement. Do you understand this? That should be very big room here. Please remember, try to learn something from everything. You understand this? So, room for improvement should be big enough for you so that you can learn a lot and become better than others, and every day you can become better than your previous version. You understand this? Yes. So, personalized mentorship, for example, by your own kind of proactive approach, you may write few things and get them to us, and we'll evaluate it, give you feedback, and you can improvise in your next writing attempt. You understand this? So, if at all you need to improvise something, we can give inputs based on our experience. Yes, based on our resources, we can give you some value addition. We can definitely do that, and we are open all the time concerned with this kind of mentorship. Yes. So these are the elements we focus on concerned with our preparation here. So if you have any questions, this is the time you shoot, and then we'll move on to the subject if you permit us, if time permits. Yes, please. Questions? Yes, please. Well, we have multiple sources here. I personally try to keep these sources to as simple as possible. For example, you go for socio-cultural anthropology. We have two papers. First is global general anthropology, and second is Indian anthropology. So paper 1 is divided into two parts here: socio-cultural part and physical or biological part. For socio-cultural part, I would suggest Haviland's anthropology. Haviland International Edition here, excellent source. I have a soft copy if you want. Haviland's anthropology. Haviland, very popular. Haviland's anthropology. Yes, socio-cultural, the best book in the world. Yes, and paper 1 socio-cultural. Yes, and physical, there is only one book at hand in India. What is that? PNAT. But selective topics from PNAT. PNAT, very popular. It is bulky. Yeah, physical is the old name, biological anthropology is the new name. That's all. Yes, that's about primatology and human, phylogenetic implications, and some cell cytology, and then cell division, structure and function of DNA. Excellent. All this evolution, genetics, applications, and ecological anthropology, and then epidemiological anthropology, all those applications of genetics, all those things. But selective topics, don't go through all topics which are present in the book. Please remember that book is designed for academic purposes. Your purpose is not academic, competitive examination. So selective topics from PNAT book, that's a good source. That is standardized reference source. And paper 2, Indian society, you don't have to refer anything. Internet is more than enough. Prehistory, your history book is more than enough. Ancient history, that's more than enough. What do you study here? Indus Valley civilization, come on. Pottery culture, come on. Your history books are more than, ancient history is more than enough. Yes, we have this, and then internet, caste, society, Indian village, varna, ashrama, purushartha, karma, rina, all those things. Internet is more than enough. Tribal anthropology, LP Vidyarthi, Lalita Prasad Vidyarthi, an anthropologist by himself, disciple of Robert Redfield though. Yes, Lalita Prasad Vidyarthi's Tribal India, authentic source. And along with that, for tribal anthropology, please refer Virginius Khaka committee report. Mind the spelling of Khaka. This is the spelling of Khaka. Professor Virginius Khaka. 2013-2014 UPA2, government, Congress government appointed this committee to look into the policy requirements, policy changes, and better implementation of tribal welfare policies. And Virginius Khaka committee, along with 8 other members, they studied tribal situation in India for 1 year, and they submitted a comprehensive report of all tribals in India. and the status of policies, legislations in India, and where there is a requirement of amending policies and what kind of new policies are required, and majority of these recommendations in general remain unimplemented as usual. Welcome to India. Welcome to New India. You understand this? So that's how it is. So LP Vidyarthi's Tribal India along with Virginia's Khakha Committee report. It's approximately 435 page report. I have soft copy. It is open source. You can download it from internet from Ministry of Tribal Affairs. You understand this? So all Government of India's websites can be authentic sources for any information you want latest on behalf of Government of India. Keep it simple and concise primarily, and then contemporary developments are always in the news. Any current affairs magazine would help you out. Newspapers would help you. Contemporary, yes, but where we add value here, examples, diagrams, case studies. This is where we add value. Yes, we will cover that in the discussion. Please remember, thinkers, I don't feel that it is separate discussion. In every chapter we have to add them. In every discussion we have to add their contributions. Sociocultural, Indian village studies or tribal studies, everywhere we can add, we can amalgamate, we can integrate the schools of thought by various thinkers wherever it is appropriate. So I don't feel that personally it is a separate discussion. It is part and parcel of every chapter. Well, wherever it is possible, we'll try to include them. Yes. So if you want separately, so we can give you, we have sources here. I have my own compilation about schools of thought and thinkers. We'll give you that. We have 11 schools of thought in our syllabus proposed by 25 different thinkers. 25 different scholars who proposed 11 schools of thought according to our syllabus is what is necessary for you. We'll be giving you all those things as part of our discussion. So that is how we try to help you or contribute or add value to your preparation. Don't forget, you have to prepare primarily for your exam. You understand this? We would add some value out of our own experience and our own learnings. That is where we come into picture. You understand this? You have to make use of our mistakes. Make sure you don't repeat them, so you reach success faster and better. You have to understand this? So hope this session was of some use and information to you, and feel free to ask questions or drop in and talk to us. We're always receptive and open here. Yes, and thanks for your time and patience, and see you soon in the regular classes.